Beatrix Potter Farmhouse meets Joanna Gaines. Budget spring decor ideas you'll love. Hi friends, and welcome back to Vintage and Rustic. I'm David, your guide for all things cozy, charming, and beautifully time-worn. Today, I'm so excited to share a fresh and heartwarming idea for your home. Imagine blending the storybook magic of Beatrix Potter's farmhouse style with the warm, rustic touches of Joanna Gaines, all while staying on a budget. That's the spirit of today's decorating journey. Budget spring decor ideas you'll absolutely love. We're going to talk about incorporating vintage farmhouse elements, soft cottagecore pastels, shiplap walls, and distressed wood finishes without spending a fortune. Imagine antique quilts draped over your couch, galvanized buckets bursting with fresh daisies, and soft linen curtains fluttering in the spring breeze. We'll explore repurposed furniture, salvaged wood mantels, enamelware pitchers, terracotta pots, bunny figurines, and floral wreaths made by hand. Through soft colors like sage green, buttercream yellow, and antique white, we're going to create a peaceful, welcoming home that feels like it belongs in the English countryside or a dreamy modern farmhouse. Grab your favorite cup of tea, settle into a comfy chair, and let's dive into a decorating daydream together. When we think of Beatrix Potter's timeless world, it's impossible not to picture cozy stone cottages, ruffled curtains, and gardens bursting with herbs and blooms. And that's exactly where we find our inspiration for spring decor. Imagine setting up a vintage tea set on a weathered wood table, a simple cotton table runner draped over it, and maybe a few pressed flower frames leaning casually against the wall. These are ideas that instantly evoke a rustic, old-world charm without needing to buy expensive designer pieces. We're talking about vintage botanical prints, DIY herb planters, lace-trimmed throw pillows, and hand-painted terracotta pots. If you've got an old ladder hanging around, turn it into a blanket rack adorned with pastel-colored throws. Upcycling is such a beautiful way to Of course, no conversation about rustic spring decor would be complete without mentioning Joanna Gaines, the queen of modern farmhouse style. Joanna's influence brings that wonderful balance between old and new, rustic and polished. Think about sliding barn doors, chunky wood shelves, metal wall sconces, and cozy neutral rugs layered over wood floors. Using her signature techniques, we can add crisp white shiplap walls, oversized farmhouse clocks, hand-thrown pottery, and black iron hardware to create a home that feels both classic and current. Simple touches like eucalyptus wreaths, vintage-inspired glass vases, woven baskets, and reclaimed wood coffee tables work wonders. Joanna's aesthetic often leans on muted palettes, warm whites, earthy taupes, faded blues, and brings everything together with simple, intentional pieces. When you layer Joanna's style over a Beatrix Potter foundation, you create a home that feels storied, comforting, and full of soul. Plus, by focusing on budget-friendly DIY projects like painting thrift store finds, stenciling old wooden trays, or creating your own floral centerpieces, you can get the look without spending much at all. Bringing all these elements together creates a space that feels personal, meaningful, and wonderfully unique. It's not about buying a bunch of trendy items. It's about curating your home with love and patience. Shop flea markets for vintage finds like ironstone pitchers, chippy painted side tables, wicker chairs, and time-worn mirrors. Check your local thrift shops for lace curtains, handmade quilts, and rustic lanterns. Repurpose mason jars into charming vases or storage containers. Make your own botanical garlands or fresh herb wreaths for an added homemade touch. Paint an old chest in a distressed finish, or stencil a floral pattern on a plain lampshade. Using secondhand treasures and a little creativity, you can easily achieve that charming look of a countryside retreat, mixed with farmhouse chic. Think floral embroidery hoops hanging on the walls, oversized cutting boards displayed in the kitchen, copper kettles gleaming on open shelving, and spring wreaths on every door. Every single piece, whether new or old, tells a story, your story, and turns your house into a true home. As we wrap up today's cozy journey, I hope you feel inspired to bring a little Beatrix Potter farmhouse charm and Joanna Gaines farmhouse flair into your spring decorating. Remember, creating a beautiful home doesn't have to be about spending a lot of money. It's about adding heart, warmth, and personal touches that make you smile every time you walk through the door. Maybe you'll hang a ruffled linen curtain in your kitchen, tuck a ceramic bunny into your bookshelf, or plant a little pot of lavender for your windowsill. It's these small, meaningful gestures that turn a house into a sanctuary. With soft florals, aged wood, cozy textiles, and sweet vintage finds, your home will feel like springtime itself, a perfect little haven of comfort and beauty. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today on Vintage and Rustic. If you enjoyed this gentle blend of Beatrix Potter and Joanna Gaines decorating ideas, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more vintage-inspired tips, and leave a comment sharing your favorite budget-friendly spring decor idea. I love hearing how you bring these inspirations to life in your own spaces. Until next time, keep embracing the charm of the past, finding beauty in the little things, and filling your home with stories and soul. See you soon, dear friends.